Hey everyone, welcome to the Healthy Brain Podcast. And today I want to talk about how to rediscover your energy and your vitality. Maybe you're feeling blah, either physically or emotionally, just depending on what's happening in your life. So, when we're looking at energy and vitality, a lot of times we look for the physical reasons and we think of, and that's going to be one thing that I want you to notice. So, I'm going to be going through some different things to notice. There's actually 10 on my list. If you have low energy, if you have brain fog, you forget things, you're unmotivated, you procrastinate a lot. That's what a lot of my clients, and actually myself, I do catch myself feeling, of course, unmotivated. I procrastinate. And sometimes there's times of not feeling very excited about life or future possibilities. And one thing that I have learned through my coaching of myself and now as a coach, certified health and life coach, is that it's more than just physical, what we're doing physically. We can generate energy by physically moving our bodies, but what I want to do is today in this podcast is really talk about things that you should notice. Really pause and notice this week. And then what I'd like you to do is notice all of these things and then come to my workshop, which is Reignite Your Life. It is a workshop that is going to be on September 29th. It's a Monday, and time will probably be around 8 Eastern Standard Time. So it's a workshop. What I'm going to be sharing in that workshop are actually ways that you can make this shift from feeling blah, low energy, low motivation, low procrastinate, and a lot of procrastination. But before we can do that, it's important to become aware, really aware of what's going on in your life. You probably have heard people say, well, if you want to make a change, you have to be aware of what you want and what's going on. And this is almost like if you've ever done in business, sometimes they'll do a time audit or, of course, a financial audit. This is really a audit of these things in your life, how you are showing up. All right, so let's get into it. I want to address, of course, one of them. I have 10. One of them is notice how food and movement affect your body. That we know certain people, there's certain foods that can really affect their energy and how much they feel vitality in their life. Hydration is really important, and not just the hydration with energy drinks or flavored waters, just pure water, maybe some electrolytes, definitely. But just notice how food and movement, are you moving every day? Are you not moving? Do you notice your energy shift when you try and work out in the morning? So those ones are, of course, you've heard of monitoring your food and notice how food and movement affect you. The second thing to notice, and there's 10 in total. So the second thing you can notice is along the same lines also of what you might have heard is sleep. How much sleep do you really need to feel energized? And I don't mean you're jumping out of bed going, this is, I'm ready to start the day. We all need a little transition time as we wake up. But what I know personally is if I get more than 8.5 hours, more than 8.5 hours for sure, I actually feel groggy. And I thought, oh, like what's going on? Is that I should be getting more than 8 hours. If you listen to one of my podcasts about sleep, I actually go into it where it's 7 to 8 hours is recommended. And there are some research studies to show that over 9 hours, someone may increase their risk of dementia. So could be could be a concern, could be a possibility. But what I feel and what's worked for me and what's worked for my clients is that they determine what number they need. Do they need seven? For me, it's around that 7.5 hours. You probably closer to 7.5. That's when I can feel during the daytime that I have the energy to go through the day versus if I get lower than six, or excuse me, lower than five, lower than seven, really lower than seven, I actually feel like I need a nap. And if sometimes I do close my eyes in the middle of the afternoon, that I'm fortunate to be able to do that. But it's usually just like a little quick reset, a meditation, a yoga nidra, possibly. So that's the second thing to notice is how does sleep affect your energy? What number of hours do you feel you need? What time should you go to bed? Like if you stay up too late, if you go to bed too early and wake up too early, does that affect you? So just notice that, making the audit. All right, the next thing you can do is now we're getting into less of the actions and more of the how you are managing your life and processing your life. Notice when you are people pleasing. Notice if you're looking for validation from others when you're doing an activity. For me, this is one of my tendencies. It's people pleasing. And maybe it's because I'm a mom of four. Maybe we all have a little bit of that. And there's another step here that I want you to notice as well. But just for people pleasing at work, friends, family, just community groups, are you a people pleaser? Do you look for validation from others or not? So just notice that because all of these will affect your energy and vitality. Then another thing that you can notice is notice when you are quieting your voice, when you are silencing your opinion. And I do want to say that definitely we want to share our opinion when it is an appropriate platform. This is, of course, my opinion as I'm sharing it, but when you're looking at what I mean more specifically is when you're in conversations, do you really silence your opinion? If you do that too often, it could be affecting your energy and vitality. So notice if you were always silencing your voice. If you're keeping everything in, it's not good. You want to express how you feel safely. And in different circumstances, it may be appropriate, it may not be. Okay, so this is where you need to use some judgment in where you're sharing your voice. It could just be you're just sharing your opinion. I like the color purple more than the color blue. That could be, it's your preferences. Where you notice where you may be squashing down your preferences, communicating your preferences, that can have a huge effect on your energy. And as we're going through these, you're making a note in this audit. And that's why at this workshop, when you come to the workshop, I'm going to give you some tools that you can use in order to, okay, I'm noticing, I'm people pleasing, I'm silencing my voice a lot, or I'm not showing my preferences. If that's the case, come to the workshop. I can help you, give you some things and tools to work on. And of course, my program, the Legacy Life Coaching Program, I'm opening up registration for October start date. So you'll get a notice on that if you're on my email list. And also here on the podcast, I'll let you know when it opens up. It opens up actually next week. So what we're going to do, let's continue. So another thing you can notice is notice if you have difficulty making decisions. That's a little bit similar to the previous one that I mentioned, but just notice if you defer to someone else to make the decisions. Can you decide on what restaurant to go to? Can you decide what you want to eat at a restaurant? Can you decide what outfit you want to buy? If you don't have the skill of decision making, that can be draining on your energy because you're not living in your authentic self. I talk a lot about authenticity and who you really are. And many women who start coaching with me, they're rediscovering who they are because for so many years they've taken care of their family, they've taken care of for everything in the home, and then of course their career. They're still working, they're still active participants or want to be more active participants in the community. And what happens is that if they've been people pleasing, looking for validation, quieting their voice, not making decisions, that drains their energy. And they need to know that they can break out of that and they can safely break out of that with compassion for themselves. It's not saying you're going to become a completely different person. You're just becoming more of who you are, maybe more of who you have dreamed of being. And you can be an active participant and more of an important contributor to our community and our society. Another thing to notice is notice if you let yourself time, if you give yourself time to process negative emotions, if you sit and feel negative emotions. Now, this one is loaded because I would bet that most of you, because I know it was me, I did not process emotions. It was like, I'm going to run away from that. I don't need to feel this emotion, this negative emotion. So, what would I do instead? I would numb out with overeating, over drinking for a while there, over consuming TV, over consuming food, buying things online, like looking for anything else than really feeling how I'm feeling. It was even to the point that I had to Google emotions, like negative emotions, because I did know, okay, anger, sadness, happiness, but what is the negative emotion? And I'm telling you, if you pull up, I do include this in my coaching program, but if you pull up a feelings wheel or just negative emotions, you will see a gamut of emotions that will pop up. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. I had to Google it because for so long, I was just pushing my emotions down. I wasn't letting myself really feel the emotion. So I'm not saying you have to get into processing your emotions now, but just notice, are you stepping away? Are you ignoring your emotions or do you process them? Another thing to consider, notice if you pick up on the emotions of other people and you change how you show up, or you take on their emotions. And this I think is really evident when you have kids because if one kid is happy, if a kid is happy, you like, oh, you're happy. If the kid is sad, you're sad. Well, what happens is this roller coaster, and you're taking on the emotions of someone else and their troubles. That's what you're pulling in. So notice if you are doing that a lot. I know for myself, this is the case. 4 kids, up and down, up and down, up and down. And for me, I was definitely feeling high emotions, low emotions. It was like, okay, what's coming next? Which kid is going to be up? Which kid is going to be down? And then I learned to control and manage my um my response to how they were reacting. I still need to manage it. I'm still working on it, but it is so much better. It gets me out of, like, because what I did notice is it would just be so draining. I'm taking on the emotion of this kid, of even though it would be a great emotion, there was something else that would happen. It was so draining and so stressful. And I learned how to manage that. I learned how to change it. And I still have to actively be aware of when it does happen. Okay, let's continue. Notice how often you have mind drama. That's like, I think a lot of us, we worry about the past or we regret the past, we rehash the past, and then we worry about the future. So it's again energy. It's pulling energy from your brain and your body when you're just like, I'm worrying about this conversation I have or I'm going to have in the future. I am rehashing what I said to this person. I shouldn't have said this. They should have done this. It should have gone this way. It's very draining. And notice again, just you're taking an audit. You're like, yep, I'm doing that. But some of these you may be like, hey, I'm pretty good. I'm actually not doing it, which kudos to you. And it could be other things that are happening, like the other things on the list. Okay, couple more. Notice if you have, how do I put this? Notice if you have creative hobbies. So, do you have other hobbies than raising your family, checking to make sure that they're okay, working, taking care of the house, even socializing? Do you have creative hobbies? Do you scrapbook? Do you crochet? Do you knit? Do you belong to a book club? Do you enjoy reading? Do you enjoy other crafts, other gardening? Do you enjoy gardening? Do you have other activities, creative hobbies and activities? Notice if you do. If you don't, now, there's two things that can happen. If you don't have a creative outlet, that's going to be draining. That will, because creative hobbies and activities will actually give you energy because they're feeding your soul. That's what it comes down to. So notice if you are doing a creative hobby, the other thing is it draining? Maybe you really enjoyed, like for me, I really enjoyed scrapbooking. I haven't done it in years because I cannot get my mind around scrapbooking with the energy it's going to take. So, what I've done instead, so because I did this audit, I now do more junk journaling and sort of a daily planner kind of review at the end of the day. I have, where is it? It's like this. This is one of them. Okay, so that is what I have modified my creative because my creative hobby was a little draining. And now, just given my timeline, this is a better fit for me. The last thing is notice if you are socializing or are you becoming a hermit? We are social creatures. Now, I am an introvert, so it's not like I love going around and being with people every day. I actually don't. It can be very draining to me. But what I noticed, I'm an extroverted introvert. I think that's a term. where I really enjoy. If I'm doing something and around people I really enjoy, it's an activity like going to watch football or um, s- checking out some things with friends and going out with them. I really, really enjoy it. It was missing for a while there as I'm raising kids and so busy, but now starting to do more of it. We know that social interaction and community is an important pillar in brain health. And that's what we're really talking about here is energy of your body is really brain energy and vitality. So notice if you are social or if you're not, and notice how that's affecting your energy. All right, so that is the list that I have for you. Make sure that you sign up for the workshop. It's completely free. It's going to be just less than an hour. Reignite Your Life. Join me September 29th. You can find the link in the show notes, and we will take it to the next step after you do this audit. Bring in the information, and we will talk about what you can do to boost your energy and your vitality and reignite your life. All right. Thanks for joining me.